of the questions was about ISIS. So who is ISIS? And I don't like to mince words. Did ISIS exist before our invasion of Iraq?
No.
Did you ever hear of ISIS?
No.
Al-Qaeda existed, but did Al-Qaeda exist before we left Russia? I mean, before we left Afghanistan? When the war was taking place in Afghanistan, the invasion by Russia, and we were arming the Taliban. We armed the Taliban. Let's not forget that. Al-Qaeda are part of the Taliban. Let's not forget that. And then when Russia was basically destroyed or dismantled, so to speak, it was their Vietnam, and we knew that we were going to be the superpower. Did we help rebuild Afghanistan? Did we say, wow, these were, mountainous people, and the country was warning us, don't put arms in the hands of these people. Yes, they're great in mountainous warfare, but these are not politicians. What did we do? We turned our back and left and never looked back. And so we have what? We had Al-Qaeda and 9/11 to thank. ISIS. The recruits for ISIS are those 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds that sat through years of us shocking and awing the hell out of Iraq. Those are those kids that saw nothing but bodies being blown up, but buildings falling down on the heads of their families, that had nothing for years to see. They no longer know what civil society looks like. And let's not forget that prior to sanctions and prior to the invasion of Iraq, that Iraq was edging towards, it was already a second-class country, a second-level country. It wasn't a third-class country. It was already edging to become a first-class country. They led the world in things like research of child cancers. They led the world in some of the great symphonies. Nobody used to know this. People didn't know a lot of these things about Iraq. But this is who ISIS is. These are the recruits. And we have ourselves to thank. What did we achieve by invading Iraq? That is an immoral and uncalled for war. Yes, we hate Saddam Hussein. Do you think that we couldn't have killed Saddam Hussein and gotten him out if we wanted to do that? But no, we have to find a way to have their oil. And don't forget that the largest military base, and I hope this is being taped real well, the largest military base in the world exists where? In Iraq. Why? Because now we're buying all this oil. That's where we are. Do you think that the war that was imposed upon Iran by Iraq, that we didn't have something to do with that? Iran lost 1 million people in the process. For what? Over some piece of land that they suddenly realized, that Iraq realized that they wanted this particular land? No, we were behind that. Because it's within our policy to keep these countries where they're not so powerful, because we want to be able to go in there and do whatever we want. Because just for the record, it's not their oil, it's our oil. We own it. And so when anyone says something about ISIS, I say, you know what? We have no one to thank but the administrations that impose these cruel wars on these human beings. As far as, here we go. Okay. Another thing that I was asked to talk about is really what is the term jihad mean? Because all these Muslims are constantly out for their jihad. We're constantly out doing a holy war somewhere, supposedly. Okay, jihad does not refer to holy war. Jihad has two terms. There's no war that's considered holy. Jihad specifically in Arabic means struggle. That's what it means. And so there is the inner struggle, which is called the greater jihad. That's the inner struggle against your own desires and to do what's right. That's the greatest jihad. And then the lesser jihad is when you are allowed to fight for just causes, which means what? You don't invade another country, but you can fight to free yourself from oppression You can fight if you are being prevented from your places of worship. If you can fight if your homes are being taken away. There are some very, very strict guidelines within Islam for fighting. And so it's very important for us to know what jihad means. It just simply means struggle. And there's no such thing as a holy war against. That is a crusader term. That was a term that was coined during the Crusades. So what do I think about the Iran nuclear program? Well, I'm definitely glad that we decided we're not going to launch another war. You know? Let's though think about this carefully. It also binds Iran quite seriously. So my question is, who has Iran, let's think about this. Who has Iran invaded? They didn't invade Iraq. They'd never invaded Israel. Who did they invade? Did they ever invade anyone? Why are we binding Iran, but Israel, that has at least 400 nuclear weapons, that has invaded, they have invaded Jordan, they have invaded Syria, they have invaded Lebanon, they have targeted places in Iraq previously. Who haven't they invaded? Look at what they're doing in the Palestinian territories and in Gaza. And I'd like to say Palestine, just for the record, I'm from Palestine. That's where I was born. I was born in Jerusalem. So my question is, where is the fairness here? Either you want to dismantle nuclear weapons in the entire region and also include us in the process here, you know what I mean? Or you don't play these games where you want to control one but leave the other one doing what they want. There was a really excellent article, I thought, by, I think it was James Zogby. I don't know how familiar you guys are with this. And he said, he felt, and I tend to agree with him, he felt that this whole Iran debacle that was brought up by the Prime Minister of Israel, kind of like a crybaby sort of thing, was created to really keep people from thinking about the Palestinian issue. Why is that? Because if you cry and you pout and you scream and they're going to kill us and they're going to come get us and whatever, although you're sitting on, you're the fourth, strongest army in the world and you have 400 nuclear warheads and Iran is suffering in so many other ways, if you keep pouting about that, and then finally, they sneak in this little program, this kind of agreement that is neither here nor there, but at least it's not war, then you can sit and feel like you're a victim. The perpetual victim. So what happens now? Israel is ethnically cleansing East Jerusalem. I've been there. Every time you go, you have families literally being thrown out of their homes in East Jerusalem. They're making place for Jews coming from Europe and from the United States. Most of those illegal settlements, I want to say about 20 to 30% of the people living there are American Jews, unfortunately. And so if you accept and say, well, you guys got your way with this Iran nuclear program, and we're going to we are going to be destroyed, and you want all the Jews to be thrown in the to go ahead and be thrown in the river or in the sea. So don't tell us anything else. So what happens then as they continue their policies of ethnically cleansing Palestinian areas? In order to broaden their scope, so you've got little Bantustan's that are totally not connected, and many of them are no longer viable because the people are no longer able to reach their land. They're no longer able to reach their livestock. They're no longer able to reach their schools or their businesses. They've just become little Bantustans, and so whatever happens, then the United States is going to be put in a position where they can't really complain too loudly because they'll throw in their face, well, look it, you guys pushed the Iran nuclear agreement and that put us at so much security risk. So we have to know how these things are being played out. We have to know how they're being played out. I know that I need to give some time for questions and answers, and actually I was asked, how long do you want to speak? I said, well, I do full-day seminars, so don't ask me that question. That's not a question to ask me. But I want to end actually with this quote that I think is really important. It's a verse from the Quran that I feel always shows the spirit of Islam. It says, "O humanity, we have created you into nations and tribes that you may come to know and cherish one another, not despise each other. Truly, the best amongst you is he who is most righteous and God conscious." Thank you.